So, it's funny. I've been the way things kind of line up sometimes. I have been recently for the last couple of weeks binge watching The Handmaid's Tale. I fell into it only because, believe it or not, I was watching. I watched the first two episodes of the Dahmer miniseries on Netflix, and I was just like, this is just kind of awful. I need something else. And so it occurred to me that I hadn't started watching The Handmaid's Tale yet. Now, I've read a number of Margaret Atwood novels. I read The Handmaid's Tale probably about 20 some odd years ago or close to that. I remember reading it as an adult. I don't think I ever read it for school. But anyway, I read The Handmaid's Tale, and I actually really liked it. I thought it was brilliant dystopian fiction. And the best dystopian fiction is the dystopian fiction that critiques the present by way of the future. And when Margaret Atwood wrote The Handmaid's Tale, her idea, what she did was every travesty committed against women in that story, and against, it's told from a woman's perspective and how the society affected women specifically, but obviously nearly everybody is suffering in the Handmaid's Tale. But anyway, what she did in terms of all these horrible things that are inflicted on these women, she made it a point to only use things that were happening somewhere in the world. All of these heinous practices had to have been happening somewhere in the world for them to show up in the book, and that was how she set it up. So all of these things, women being made to wear these shapeless gowns that cover their entire bodies and cannot go out in public unescorted, and child brides, and women being being forced to undergo female circumcision, all the way up to and including being brought into households just for the purpose of being raped into pregnancy and all of that. All of these things happen now in the present moment, and have been happening were happening at the time that The Handmaid's Tale was originally written, and were happening long before it was written, and continue to happen today, and all of that. And these heinous atrocities against humanity that you see in the book were all based on real things that were actually going on in the world. Now, the TV series elaborates on the futuristic dystopia of this world more and more, and invokes more and more things that were clearly the product of imagination, but the imagination of writers, but no less rooted in the original source material. Obviously, like I said, the world of the TV show expands on it dramatically. By the way, if you're going to get into Margaret Atwood, I actually would not say start with The Handmaid's Tale. Start with Oryx and Crake. This one, if you're the kind of person who's going to look at Margaret Atwood and go, ew, feminism, like that kind of thing. I've talked about this in the past. I don't care if you are a creative person. I don't care what it is you believe, as long as you can do something creative with it. If you can create an amazing work of art that speaks to me, I don't care what political or socio-political background you come from, or what philosophy it is. As long as it speaks to me, that's what matters. And that's kind of like, it's there's kind of a joke of like the atheists that love Lord of the Rings and are surprised to learn that it's a Christian allegory, and that kind of thing. I would say surprised to learn that Chronicles of Narnia is a Christian allegory, but that's obviously a Christian allegory. Anyway, and so if you're getting into Margaret Atwood, Oryx and Crake is, in my mind, her magnum opus. It's a grand slam home run. The sequel, I've got the other two books in the series, the trilogy here. The sequel, The Year of the Flood, is really good as well. It's like it's more dystopian fiction, and there's a lot of class division and everything. So this takes place very much among the upper elites, and it takes place in a private school, by and large in a private school, and it takes place among the upper elites, while Year of the Flood takes place among, the common man, the same events, the same apocalyptic events described from the perspective of the common man, the common woman. So they're not really, they're less it's less of a sequel and more of like a side-by-side companion. Mad Adam, the third book in the series, is okay, but it feels like an unnecessary third telling of the book. We do kind of finally get some resolution about the post-apocalyptic events. Anyway, but Oryx and Crake in and of itself is brilliant, whether you read the whole series or not. But all of that said, you know, it was funny. It was just amazing to me. Like, I saw the film adaptation that was made in the early 90s of The Handmaid's Tale, starring Natasha Richardson and Robert Duvall, I believe, and some others. And it was the worser side of okay. It wasn't just terrible, but the thing is, it stayed true enough to the story, to the actual novel, and I had just read the novels at the time, so I could say, yeah, it stays relatively true to it. But there are some important distinctions. You know, I'm not making this video for a side-by-side analysis, but they tried too hard to make it. They tried too hard to make it sexy, you know, and try to make it like an erotic, weird, you know, fetishistic erotic thriller or something. And it's not that. It's not meant to be sexy. Like, we're not here to have a good time. You know, no one's here to have a good time in this story. Anyway, so why am I talking about The Handmaid's Tale when the title of this video has to do with the Barbie Oscar, the Barbie Oscar controversy? Well, here's the thing. When I sat down to watch the series, the TV series of The Handmaid's Tale, I knew it would be interesting. I had been curious about it for a long time. Going back to what I was saying about going back to what I was saying about the post-feminist society and that sort of thing. If I had one of the reasons I didn't start watching it when it came on was because we were now in the era of Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, we were very obviously, the people who wanted The Handmaid's Tale were crazy about Donald Trump. Now, don't start writing into, I know there's probably going to be someone out here watching this video that was all about Donald Trump that does not want The Handmaid's Tale. I get it. I know you are out there. I know you all are out there, and I trust you, and I don't hold it against you that you voted for Donald Trump. You vote your heart, and, you know, I don't think anybody votes thinking, gee, I wonder how I can fuck things up for me and everybody else. Everybody just votes what they think is best, and I'm not begrudging you that or anything, but there's no question that all of the people in this country who wanted The Handmaid's Tale to be real were 100% behind Donald Trump. None of them were voting for Biden. Anyway, so once we got Donald Trump in, and now we've seen a resurgence of we've seen a resurgence of exactly the sort of thing that foreshadowed The Handmaid's Tale, foreshadows the events of The Handmaid's Tale. It's like, well, great, I can't say we're in a post-feminist world anymore. I can't say I'm not a feminist. I don't want to join anybody's. I don't want to be anybody's isist or join anybody's ism or anything like that, because anytime I join groups like that, inevitably they will have some things I agree with and some things I don't agree with, and the things we don't agree with end up running a wedge between us. So I prefer just to be a lone wolf because I'm a special snowflake. Anyway, so the thing is, though, I can't, especially, you know, the most significant thing that happened as a result of the Trump presidency, and if you start writing into my video trying to lecture me about all the wonderful things you think happened under Donald Trump, I will block you. Homie, don't play that. I don't want to hear it. Anyway, to me, the most significant thing that happened under the Trump presidency was that, aside from him cozying up to brutal dictators like Kim Jong-un, was that he put in place the Supreme Court that overthrew Roe v. Wade. And I do view, for all, you know, granted, I have political opinions that are all across the board. Some things liberal, some things conservative, some things this way, that way, and the other. But as far as I'm concerned, Roe v. Wade is the most central and defining cornerstone of freedom that there is, or that we had in this country. That was as important as the First Amendment, as important as the Second Amendment, and all kinds of other things. And we lost that. We lost it. And so now we are in upheaval. And now people like Lila Rose, whose Twitter handle, as far as I'm concerned, should be Real Serena Joy. As far as those people like that are now once again back to pushing their theocratic agenda on all of us. And losing Roe v. Wade was the bellwether of them being able to push their whole agenda on us. And I knew that was going to happen. So it doesn't happen overnight. It will be continue to be the slow-moving coup it always was. I don't think that it's going to be something like well, I can't even say it won't be something like in The Handmaid's Tale where they gunned down all the members of Congress, because in January 6th we saw an attack on the Capitol. And if you write in telling me why the attack on the Capitol on January 6th was not an attack on the Capitol, I will also block you. We're in reality land here. Anyway, so as I watched this series, I was thinking about as I was watching this series, it's funny, I was enjoying it immediately. I was hooked on it instantly. And I've just been completely fascinated with it. They did such a good job of evolving all these characters. I just watched the episode where we get a backstory on Aunt Lydia. And it was captivating, because that's like the last character you would want a backstory on. She's not at all sympathetic. We've despised her the entire series, but then we get this captivating backstory on her and all of that. But as I'm watching it, I'm thinking, okay, you just have to wonder what the pitch meeting was like for this. It's like someone comes into the Hulu executive's office and says, okay, we're going to have a prestige drama where every episode is an hour of Donald Trump, Jerry Falwell, Roosh V, and Andrew Tate gang raping the women of a futuristic Mennonite community. And the executive said, interesting. And who will we have play the protagonist, the female protagonist, in this psycho-religious cult? And the guy said, how about an actual practicing Scientologist? And he said, I love it. Green light 5 seasons. Anyway, and as I'm watching this, and I've been this show has been living very rent-free inside my head for 2 weeks now. I've just been completely obsessed with it. And right as I'm thinking about all of this, I hear the oh-so-controversial news that Margot Robbie was not nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress for Barbie, and Greta Gerwig was not nominated for an Academy Award for Best Director for Barbie. However, Ryan Gosling was nominated for Best Actor for Ken. And now, this is being treated as a slight against women and a slight against feminism. Now, don't misunderstand me. I understand if you were a fan of the movie and you were a fan of Greta Gerwig and you were a fan of Margot Robbie, and you are disappointed that they did not get nominated. I get that. I get being disappointed. And I understand how snubbing them while nominating the male lead is bad optics. In a movie that's ostensibly a feminist film is bad optics. I get that. I'm not, that's not lost on me at all. Now, the thing is, what people are ignoring, of course, is that America Ferrara, whatever it is, United States Ferrara got nominated for Best Supporting Actress, and the movie itself got nominated for Best Picture. So it's not like the feminist movie is getting slighted altogether except for the male lead. Those aspects seem to get overlooked. Now, also understand, for what it's worth, I don't think Ryan Gosling deserves a Best Actor nomination for Ken. You can watch my review of it. I believe it's called So I Finally Watched the Barbie Movie, where my reaction to it was just kind of, Now, of course, you can spare me all the bullshit about how the movie wasn't made for me, and so, of course, that's why I couldn't possibly understand how special and important it is. Look, I don't have to be the target demographic of something to appreciate quality when I see it. Anyway, so, and I just thought the Barbie movie was kind of a well-made mess of a movie. That's all I could come to, and my greater analysis is in that other video. But anyway, here's the thing, and this is why getting around to my actual point about about why I brought up The Handmaid's Tale in all of this. I do not want another Donald Trump presidency. And I'm going to vote for Joe Biden. I don't care if old Papa Joe is gonna go into advanced Alzheimer's in his second term or anything like that. I don't care about that. I'm not worried about that at all. I do not care how much of an embarrassment he is. I do not care how much of a fool he makes of himself in person. That's perfectly fine. I can live with that. I cannot abide another Trump term. I cannot take another term of Donald Trump, and God only knows what he's going to do this time. I cannot take another term of Donald Trump. I cannot take another term of his completely vacuous, psychologically hermetically sealed fan base that cannot possibly comprehend anything that he's ever done anything wrong ever. I cannot tolerate I cannot put up with another 4 years of him making asshole comments and everybody trying to piece together with corkboard and red string all of the what he actually said to try to make it sound like something that's loving and compassionate. I can't do it. I can't take it. I just don't want to experience another 4 years of that. And here's the thing. The number one thing that the pro-Trump lobby is doing to win this, to try to win the argument, they're not winning on the basis of they're not winning on the basis of, or excuse me, their strategy to win is not on the basis of sound reasoning, sound arguments, anything like that. It's based on 3 words: owning the libs. We are in a world where presidential elections are determined by memes. It is a level of influence that even professional political cartoonists have not had. And if you think that professional political cartoonists do not wield a level of influence, bear in mind that Adolf Hitler tried to have one of them killed. And so it's done entirely on the basis of ownage. It is not done. This defeat is not based on anything other than making the libs look like clowns. So, when you do stupid shit like complain about start railing about how how Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie getting snubbed by the Oscars is some great loss for women, or some great loss for feminism, or some great loss for anything in the world, that this was the patriarchy winning again, or something like that. Even if you're saying it as a joke, stop and consider the reality, the larger meta reality, the larger meta reality of what's going on here. Already, the Daily Wire and all of these people and the conservative media are just as this is I think like 24 hours old, and they're already making these hit pieces laughing at the people who are acting like this is some kind of great failure for women, or some great loss to the patriarchy, or some evil some failure of failure or falling of women in status in the world, and all of this bullshit. When you do this, even in jest, even sarcastically, they are going to own you and they're going to rip your guts apart. And so you've got to stop. You've got to stop this thing where inconsequential bullshit that doesn't turn out your way is held up as evidence of the patriarchy. Female circumcision is evidence of the or I should say evidence of a patriarchy, evidence of a patriarchal culture. I hate that term, the patriarchy, because it sounds like the Illuminati or something, but a patriarchy, there are patriarchal cultures and patriarchal societies. When you hold up as an example of the United States being a patriarchal culture, when you hold up as an example of that, some inconsequential asinine bullshit like your favorite movie didn't get as many Academy Award nominations as you would have liked, something that is completely inane and pointless and irrelevant and asinine, when you start bringing that shit up as evidence of living in a patriarchy, all that's going to happen is the Donald Trump fan base, the Cheeto Dust MAGA hat fan base of Donald Trump is going to point at you and laugh, and they're going to try to make your whole agenda look like clowning nonsense because of these things like that. And that's what strikes me as so aggravating and so asinine about all of this. Because, I'm sure someone's going to want to try to write in and reason with me on this point and say something like, well, yes, Jordan, we understand that this might seem like a minor, unimportant thing, but you have to understand that living in this patriarchy as we do weighs on us, and we have to, and as things get screwed, yada, yada, yada. Stop a minute. I'm going to go back to my original point. Do you want another Donald Trump presidency? I do not. Okay. Well, then you have got to finally figure out why progressive politics seems to win every battle and still lose the war. Every time we see over and over and over again these small-scale progressive victories, the first woman that did this, the first black person that did that, this, that, and the other, et cetera, all of these milestone achievement things come along, and all of the right people seem to always get laughed out of the room. The Lindsey Grahams of the world and all of that seem to be constantly on the ropes. They seem to be constant punching bags. The Lindsey Grahams and the Ted Cruz, I was about to say Herman Munster, the Ted Cruzes of the world, they're always the punching bags, they're always the butts of every joke, nobody ever likes them, everything seems to always be in the progressive favor all the time, and then when it finally matters and it finally counts, you lose the battle. You lost Hillary, a Hillary Clinton presidency to Donald Trump. And the reason you lost it is because you spent an entire election cycle stagging defeat from the jaws of victory. And that's going to be the thing until you learn what matters and what doesn't. You're going to continually make yourselves look like inconsequential ninnies to be trounced by, the orange messiah of the American right. And I'm sick of this. This is why I can't, liberal people think I'm a raving conservative. Conservative people think I'm a screaming liberal. I cannot get on either of your sides because you're both so asinine. And this is why I can't be on the side of the modern left. Because I'm supposed to sit here and pretend that the Barbie movie not getting as many Oscars as you would have wanted is a loss for women everywhere. When we have The Handmaid's Tale on the line, the conservatives are always going to downplay it. They're going to downplay the importance of the loss of Roe v. Wade. They're going to say, oh, it's for the babies, blah, blah, all that bullshit. No. They want a theocracy. They want a theocracy. They want Gilead. They want The Handmaid's Tale, and they know it. They want it. They know it, and they know that Donald Trump can give it to them. And so the thing is, the problem is, or the thing is, the conservatives know how to play, how to strategize. They know how to not say the quiet part out loud. That's a big problem from a strategic standpoint. The left has no internal strategy. They don't know how to strategize. They don't know how to play the long game, and they keep always saying the quiet part out loud. It was kind of like when there was that footage of that little boy whose mother was saying that he was a trans kid, and she'd known she'd known he was trans since he was little, and she was supporting him. Now he's like 9 years old, and he let slip something like, well, my mom just really, why do you think you're trans? And he let slip something about, well, my mom just really wants me to be a part of this, or something like that. And it's like, oh, okay, this is not anything the kid's actually dealing with. The mom's forcing it on him. That's saying the quiet part out loud. And that's just one. I'm not tying that into a political allegory here. That was one individual instance. I'm talking about as a culture, the left, which is good, the Democrats are the thing that are going to have to win against Donald Trump. They don't understand the concept of not saying the quiet part out loud. The conservatives understand the concept of not saying the quiet part out loud. And the quiet part in all of this is that they want Gilead. They want you back. They want you back in the kitchen. They want the Handmaid's Tale. That is what they're pushing for. That is what they are jonesing for. They want that. And because they know not to say the quiet part out loud, their gambit in all of this is just to make the left look like a bunch of screaming hyenas that are devoid of any common sense or anything like that. That is their gambit. It worked for them in 2016. It's going to end up working and it has a very real shot of ending up working for them again. And I'll tell you something. We're going to have to realize that as long as Donald Trump is alive, he is a fellow traveler. He is always going to, politically, as long as he is alive and does not get that second term in office, he's always going to be running. It does not matter. He'll be, 81, 82 in the next election cycle. He will be running again if he doesn't, if he does not get it this time. He will always be doing this until he passes on naturally, or passes on from natural causes, or whatever his ultimate demise is. And as long as he is alive, he is going to be the Republican nominee for president every 4 years. You can guarantee it. It does not matter that his cognitive decline now rivals that of Joe Biden. It does not matter that a court ruled that it is not a defamatory statement to say Donald Trump is a rapist. It does not, no, he could be convicted of every single thing he's been accused of. As long as he is alive, he will continue to be the Republican nominee for president every time, without exception. And every time he is the Republican nominee for president, you have a 4-year gamble of returning of Gilead. Gilead is a 4-year gamble. If you don't know what I'm talking about, by the way, Gilead is the renamed United States in The Handmaid's Tale. Anyway, Gilead is always a reality, or always a potential reality, as for 4 years if Donald Trump becomes president again. In the first 4 years, you lost Roe v. Wade. You lost Roe v. Wade in the first 4 years. If you get another Donald Trump presidency, it's entirely possible that you will lose, that they will pass an amendment banning abortion. It is entirely, you cannot even begin to imagine what you stand to lose under another Donald Trump presidency. And you are sitting here squawking about inane, asinine bullshit like the Barbie movie not getting enough Oscar nominations for the female contributors. And I say this because I sat down And Brett Cooper's, this video was recommended to me on YouTube. Brett Cooper's got a video called "Feminists Are Mad That Ken is the Fan Favorite," and it's that only Ryan Gosling. It's all about how only Ryan Gosling was nominated for the award, and she's making you look like a bunch of goobers, and a bunch of ridiculous, inane goobers, and that's their tactic, and they're going to keep doing it so long as you throw fits about inane, stupid bullshit that doesn't matter. Okay, Barbie not getting enough Oscar nominations was not Barbie being ruined by the patriarchy or Barbie being slighted by the patriarchy. You know what patriarchy ruining the Barbie movie would be? If a bunch of military police kicked down the door of the film studio, destroyed all of the film, destroyed all of the negatives, destroyed all of the equipment, and banned the movie from ever existing. That's what that looks like. You have the potential for that under Donald Trump. Gilead's on the table if Donald Trump gets elected again. And as long as you are making very inconsequential, or as long as you are making faux patriarchal mountains out of very small, very minor, very inconsequential molehills, the Republicans that know how to play the long game, they know how to not say the quiet part out loud, the ones that want Gilead and know that the best hope they have for getting Gilead is to make you look like a bunch of screaming ninnies that are worried about nothing, they're going to always have the upper hand as long as you feed them bullshit ammunition like this. Now, here's the thing. This is what you might be hearing this. I feel like this is probably the kind of thing that you probably don't hear a lot. And that's why I feel like it needs to be said. Better people and more powerful people than me will make the major arguments. I want to talk about the stuff that's not being said, the angles and the perspectives on this that aren't being said. I am not a Democrat. I'm a libertarian. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a feminist. I'm not any of these things. But I am on your side in this fight. I'm on your side and you're not. And that's the problem.